Most people think self-sufficient living means having acres of land, expensive equipment, and endless hours of labor. But the truth is, half an acre managed intentionally can produce more food than most families need. The problem? People choose animals based on what sounds homesteady, not what actually works on limited space. And that leads to overwhelm, waste, and giving up. In this video, I'm sharing 5 practical animals that thrive on half an acre or less, producing food, fertility, and value without draining your time, money, or sanity. If you want a calmer path to self-sufficiency, this channel is for you. I post practical homesteading ideas like this every week, and subscribing means you won't have to piece together advice from a dozen sources. I'm really glad you found your way here. Let's start. Animal number 1, chickens. Chickens are the obvious choice, but this one matters because most people set them up wrong, which turns a simple food source into a daily frustration. When you do it right, chickens solve multiple problems at once: eggs, pest control, and compost, without adding chaos to your routine. The reason chickens work on small spaces is simple. They're compact, productive, and low maintenance when their system is dialed in. They don't need grazing land. They convert kitchen scraps into protein, and they work even when you're tired or busy, which is why they last. To start, all you need is a secure coop, a small run, and 4 to 6 hens. If you have 200 square feet, you're ready. What you're doing is simply providing food, water, and collecting eggs daily. No fancy breeds, no overthinking. To keep it going, focus on one thing: clean bedding every 2 weeks. That's enough to prevent smell and disease. Over time, this doesn't just give you fresh eggs. It changes how mornings feel. Collecting eggs becomes a quiet ritual. You stop relying on the grocery store, and there's a calm that comes from knowing you can feed yourself. A small thing that makes this easier is using the deep litter method in the coop. You don't need it, but it cuts cleaning time in half and builds free compost. Here's what most people get wrong. They choose high-maintenance heritage breeds because they look pretty. But for production on small spaces, hybrid layers like Rhode Island Reds or Barred Rocks outperform everything else. They lay consistently, handle confinement better, and don't go broody when you need eggs. Another mistake is free-ranging on tiny lots. It sounds romantic, but on half an acre, chickens destroy gardens, attract predators, and create mud pits. A well-designed run with rotation keeps them healthy and your land intact. Feed costs worry people, but chickens are opportunistic eaters. Kitchen scraps, garden waste, and seasonal forage can cut commercial feed by 30 to 40%. The key is balance, not perfection. Predators are the real challenge on small properties. Hawks, raccoons, and neighborhood dogs are persistent. Hardware cloth, not chicken wire, is non-negotiable. Automatic coop doors eliminate the evening routine. Motion lights deter nighttime raids. One secure setup prevents years of heartbreak. Water is underrated. Chickens drink twice as much as they eat. Dirty water causes respiratory issues and drops production. Nipple waterers stay cleaner and reduce waste. In winter, heated bases prevent freezing. These small upgrades eliminate daily problems. The emotional return matters too. There's something grounding about chickens. They're present. They respond to routine. And for kids or people living alone, they add life to a property without the commitment of larger livestock. Done right, 6 hens produce 1,500 to 2,000 eggs per year. That's 125 to 165 dozen eggs. At $5 per dozen for quality eggs, you're looking at $625 to $825 in annual value, plus fertility for your garden. The setup cost is $500 to $800. You break even in year 1 and profit every year after. Animal number 2. Rabbits. This one matters because rabbits solve a quiet problem most small homesteaders face: how to produce meat without acres, noise, or slaughter drama. They're efficient, gentle, and work even in urban settings. The reason rabbits work is simple. They're the most space-efficient meat animal that exists. One breeding trio in a 4 by 8 foot space can produce 200 plus pounds of meat per year. They're quiet. They don't smell if managed right. And they eat grass clippings and garden scraps, which is basically free. To start, all you need is 3 wire hutches, 1 buck, and 2 does. If you have a shed or garage corner, you're ready. What you're doing is simply breeding twice a year, feeding pellets and forage, and harvesting at 12 weeks. No pasture rotation, no grain bills. To keep it going, focus on just one thing: fresh water daily. Rabbits are fragile without it, but with it, they thrive. Over time, this doesn't just fill your freezer. It gives you food security that feels real. You control the quality. No antibiotics, no factory farms. And there's a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can provide protein for your family on half an acre. A small thing that makes this easier is keeping a small compost bin under the hutches. Rabbit manure is garden gold. You're building fertility while producing meat. Here's what people miss. Rabbit meat is leaner and healthier than chicken, with more protein per pound than beef. It's mild-flavored, versatile, and kids who won't eat game meat will eat rabbit. Breed selection matters. New Zealand whites and Californians are industry standards for good reason. They grow fast, dress out heavy, and handle temperature swings. Flemish giants sound impressive, but take longer to process and eat more feed. Stick with proven production breeds. Housing prevents most problems. Wire-bottom cages allow waste to fall through, keeping rabbits clean and dry. Solid floors cause sore hocks and disease. Each rabbit needs 4 square feet minimum. Does need nesting boxes 2 weeks before kindling. Bucks stay separate to prevent fighting. Feeding is straightforward. Quality pellets provide balanced nutrition. Add grass hay for digestion and teeth health. Supplement with garden greens, vegetable scraps, and safe weeds. Avoid sudden diet changes. Rabbits have sensitive digestive systems. Gradual transitions prevent bloat and death. Breeding takes patience, not skill. Bring the doe to the buck's cage, never the reverse. Does are territorial. Watch for the fall-off, that's confirmation. Gestation is 28 to 31 days. First-time does may struggle, but most figure it out. Litters average 6 to 8 kits. Processing is the mental hurdle most people face. But rabbit processing is simpler than poultry. One quick motion, no plucking, no gutting complications. Many homesteaders who can't stomach chicken slaughter handle rabbits fine. The key is respect and speed. Disease prevention beats treatment. Keep cages clean, provide ventilation without drafts, quarantine new stock, watch for snuffles, ear mites, and sore hocks. Healthy rabbits are alert, active, and eating well. Prevention is observation. The ROI is real. Setup costs run $300 to $500 for 3 hutches and initial stock. Feed costs about $30 monthly. A breeding trio produces 50 to 60 fryers annually at 5 pounds each. That's 250 to 300 pounds of meat. At $8 per pound for organic rabbit, you're looking at $2,000 to $2,400 in annual value. Even feeding your family, you break even fast. Animal number 3, quail. This one matters because quail solve the problem of wanting eggs and meat without much land, noise, or neighbors noticing. They're tiny, prolific, and ridiculously productive for the space they need. The reason quail work is simple. They produce eggs and meat faster than any other backyard animal. A dozen quail fit in a 4 square foot cage. They start laying at 6 weeks, and they're silent, which means no zoning issues or neighbor complaints. To start, all you need is a small cage setup, 12 Coturnix quail, and game bird feed. If you have a balcony or basement corner, you're ready. What you're doing is simply collecting eggs daily and harvesting extra males at 8 weeks. No incubating needed if you buy started birds. No overthinking. To keep it going, focus on one thing. Keep their area dry. Moisture causes all quail problems. Dryness prevents them. Over time, this doesn't just give you eggs and occasional meat. It proves that self-sufficiency doesn't require land. It fits invisible lives, city ordinances, tight budgets, and there's freedom in knowing you can produce food in a closet-sized space. A small thing that makes this easier is stacking cages vertically with droppings boards. You triple your output without needing more floor space. Here's what makes quail special. They're the gateway animal for apartment homesteaders, renters, and people testing the water before committing to chickens. Coturnix quail are the only breed worth raising for production. Bobwhites are for sport. Buttons are ornamental. Coturnix lay nearly daily, mature fast, and handle captivity well. Jumbo varieties dress out heavier but lay fewer eggs. Standard Coturnix balance both. Housing is minimal. Wire cages with 1/4-inch floors work best. Solid floors get messy. Each quail needs 1 square foot. Height matters less than floor space. They don't roost or perch. Keep cages off the ground to prevent rodents and improve airflow. Lighting drives production. Quail need 14 to 16 hours of light to lay consistently. In winter, a simple timer and LED bulb maintain output. No light means no eggs. It's that direct. Temperature matters less than people think. Quail handle cold fine if dry and draft-free. Feeding is simple but specific. Game bird or turkey starter provides the 24 to 28% protein quail need. Chicken feed doesn't cut it. Add crushed oyster shell for calcium. Clean water is critical. Quail dehydrate fast. Dirty water spreads disease quickly. Egg production is impressive. One hen lays 200 to 300 eggs per year. Each egg is 1/5 the size of a chicken egg, so 5 quail eggs equal 1 chicken egg nutritionally. The yolk-to-white ratio is higher, making them richer and better for baking. Meat production is fast. Males not kept for breeding reach processing weight at 8 weeks. Dressed weight is 5 to 7 ounces. The meat is dark, tender, and gourmet. Restaurants pay premium prices. Home processing takes minutes per bird. The sound factor matters. Quail crow, but it's a soft trill, not a rooster's blast. Hens make gentle chirps. Neighbors genuinely don't notice. This opens doors, chickens can't. Waste becomes wealth. Quail manure is hot and nitrogen-rich. Composted, it supercharges gardens. Under cage collection keeps odor down and fertility up. The economics work. Startup costs run $100 to $200 for cages and a dozen birds. Feed costs about $15 monthly for a small flock. A dozen hens produce 2,400 to 3,600 eggs annually. At $6 per dozen for specialty eggs, that's $1,200 to $1,800 in value. Add meat sales, and small-scale quail farming is genuinely profitable.
If this is making sense so far, give it a like. It helps this reach people trying to figure out what actually works on small land. And I'm curious, which animal are you leaning towards starting with? Or if you already raise one of these, what's one thing you wish you'd known earlier? Drop it in the comments. I actually read them, and your input helps shape future videos. Real experience from people doing this beats theory every time. Let me know what's working for you.
Animal number 4, bees. This one matters because bees solve a problem most people don't think about until their garden fails: pollination and sweetener production, without taking up usable ground space. And honey never expires. It's food security you can literally store forever. The reason bees work on small properties is simple. They forage up to 3 miles away, so your half-acre doesn't limit them. One hive produces 30 to 60 pounds of honey per year, increases your garden yield by 30%, and requires only 4 square feet of ground space. To start, all you need is one Langstroth hive, a package of bees, and a basic smoker. If you have a sunny corner away from foot traffic, you're ready. What you're doing is simply checking the hive every 2 weeks during warm months and harvesting honey once or twice a year. No daily chores, no feeding unless it's a bad year. To keep it going, focus on one thing: monitor for mites in fall. That's the main threat, and catching it early keeps the hive alive. Over time, this doesn't just give you honey, it transforms your relationship with the land. You notice bloom cycles, your garden explodes. And there's something humbling about working with 50,000 tiny partners who do most of the work. A small thing that makes this easier is painting your hive boxes different colors. Bees orient by color. It reduces drift and keeps colonies strong. Here's what people get wrong about bees. They think it's complicated or dangerous. But modern beekeeping is surprisingly simple when you follow the basics. Equipment matters. Langstroth hives are standard for good reason. Parts are interchangeable. Resources are endless. Top bar and war hives sound romantic but complicate management and reduce yields. Start simple. Get fancy later if you want. Bee packages versus nucs is a real choice. Packages are cheaper but take longer to build up. Nucs cost more but have established queens and brood. For beginners, nucs reduce first-year failure. You're buying momentum, not just bees. Hive placement is strategic. Morning sun gets bees active early. Afternoon shade prevents overheating. Windbreaks reduce winter stress. Face entrances away from foot traffic. Elevation prevents flooding. These small choices determine hive success. Inspections are management, not interference. Every 2 weeks in spring and summer, check for brood patterns, food stores, and queen cells. You're not controlling bees, you're observing and responding. Good beekeepers know when to leave things alone. Feeding is seasonal. Established hives rarely need help. New packages need sugar syrup until nectar flows. Fall feeding ensures winter survival. Spring feeding boosts buildup. But overfeeding creates dependency. Nature should provide most nutrition. Mite management is non-negotiable. Varroa mites kill more hives than anything else. Monitor with alcohol washes or sticky boards. Treat with proven methods, formic acid, oxalic acid, or Apigard. Ignoring mites guarantees colony collapse. Swarming is natural but preventable. Bees swarm when crowded or queenless. Add supers before they need them. Split strong hives in spring. Provide space and they'll stay put. Losing a swarm wastes half your workforce. Harvesting is the reward. Wait until frames are 80% capped. Extract with a manual or electric extractor. Strain through mesh. Bottle and enjoy. Leftover wax becomes candles, balms, and wood polish. Nothing goes to waste. The garden impact is measurable. Pollinated gardens produce 30 to 50% more. Tomatoes set better. Squash fills out. Fruit trees explode. Bees pay for themselves in increased harvest before you count honey. The community value matters too. Local honey sells for $10 to $15 per pound. Beeswax products bring premium prices. Pollination services earn $50 to $100 per hive. Bees open income streams most livestock can't. Startup costs run $300 to $500 for one hive and bees. Annual costs are minimal. Some sugar, occasional treatments, and replacement equipment. One hive produces $300 to $900 in honey annually, plus garden value. You break even year one and profit forever. Animal number 5, ducks. This one matters because ducks solve problems chickens create: muddy runs, tick infestations, and fragile birds that stress easily. They're hardier, funnier, and in some cases more productive. The reason ducks work on small spaces is simple. They're less destructive than chickens, lay bigger eggs, and control pests better. They don't scratch up your garden. They eat slugs, mosquito larvae, and ticks. And they're cold hardy, which means they work in climates that stress chickens. To start, all you need is a simple shelter, a kiddie pool for water, and 4 to 6 ducks. If you have 300 square feet and a hose, you're ready. What you're doing is simply providing feed, water, and collecting eggs in the morning. No heat lamps needed. No overthinking. To keep it going, focus on one thing. Change their pool water every 2 to 3 days. Clean water prevents most duck health issues. Over time, this doesn't just give you eggs and pest control, it makes your homestead feel alive. Ducks are funny, they're calming to watch, and there's a lightness that comes from animals that seem happy to be there. A small thing that makes this easier is using khaki Campbells or Indian runners. They lay as well as chickens but stay grounded. No flying, no escape drama. Here's what makes ducks underrated. They outperform chickens in specific situations most people face on small properties. Breed selection changes everything. Khaki Campbells lay 300 plus eggs annually, rivaling the best chicken layers. Indian runners are upright, active, and amazing foragers. Pekins are calm and dual purpose, but lay less. Welsh Harlequins balance egg production with temperament. Skip Muscovies unless you want meat. They're aggressive and loud. Housing is simpler than chickens. Ducks don't roost. They sleep on bedding. A basic 3-sided shelter with straw keeps them dry and safe. They're cold hardy but need wind protection. Ventilation matters more than insulation. Ammonia buildup causes respiratory issues. Water is the game changer. Ducks need water to clean their nostrils and eyes. A kiddie pool works perfectly. They'll splash, play, and stay healthy. Without adequate water, ducks get stressed and sick. It's non-negotiable, but it's also simple. Egg production surprises people. Duck eggs are 30% larger than chicken eggs with richer yolks and more protein. Bakers pay premium prices. They're prized for pastries and custards. 1 duck egg replaces 1.5 chicken eggs in recipes. Foraging ability is where ducks shine. They demolish slugs, snails, and mosquito larvae. They don't tear up soil like chickens. Garden integration is easier. Rotate them through garden beds post-harvest and they'll clean up pests and fertilize soil. Pest control is measurable. Ducks eat ticks, reducing Lyme disease risk. They patrol yards naturally. 1 flock can clear a half-acre property of ground-dwelling pests in weeks. This matters more than people realize until tick season hits. Mess management is real. Ducks are waterfowl. They're messy, but it's containable. Gravel or sand around pools drains better than dirt. Deep bedding in shelters composts in place. Weekly cleanouts prevent buildup. The mess isn't worse than chickens, just different. Predators target ducks hard. They're ground nesters and can't fly to safety like chickens. Secure housing at night is critical. Electric netting works for daytime free ranging. Hawks are the biggest threat. Covered runs or guardian animals help. Feed costs are comparable to chickens. Ducks need waterfowl or game bird feed with niacin for leg health. Kitchen scraps, garden waste, and forage reduce commercial feed needs. Budget $20 to $30 monthly for a small flock. The emotional return is unique. Ducks waddle. They quack softly. They follow you around like puppies. For people managing stress or depression, ducks add joy to daily chores. It sounds small, but it's real. Economics work. Setup costs run $200 to $400. 6 ducks produce 1,500 to 1,800 eggs annually. At $8 per dozen for duck eggs, that's $1,000 to $1,200 in value, plus pest control worth hundreds in reduced spray costs. Bonus tip. Here's something most people miss, and it matters more than choosing the perfect animal. Instead of starting with 3 species at once, pick one and get it dialed in first. That single decision prevents overwhelm, builds skill, and gives you confidence, which makes adding the next animal feel easy instead of stressful. Most failed homesteads don't fail from bad animals. They fail from doing too much too fast. Here's why this works. Every animal has a learning curve. Feed schedules, behavior patterns, health red flags, predator pressure. You can't learn 5 systems simultaneously while working full-time and managing life. Pick chickens, rabbits, quail, bees, or ducks. Spend 6 months mastering one species. Learn their rhythm. Dial in your routine. Make mistakes when stakes are low. Then add the next animal from a place of competence, not chaos. This approach also reveals what you actually enjoy. You might love chickens but hate processing rabbits. You might find bees meditative but ducks annoying. Small tests prevent large regrets. Another hidden benefit is infrastructure reuse. Your chicken coop design informs your duck shelter. Rabbit hutch lessons improve quail cage builds. Skills and materials compound. You're not starting from zero each time. Financial pressure drops too. One species cash flowing before adding another means animals fund expansion, not credit cards. This is how successful small homesteads grow, deliberately, profitably, sustainably. The people rushing to fill half an acre with every animal at once burn out in year 1. The people who start with 6 chickens and expand strategically are still thriving a decade later. Speed feels productive. Patience is what actually works. You don't need a farm to be self-sufficient. You just need one smart choice and the patience to let it work. Pick one animal from today and start small this season, imperfectly. That's how real food security builds. And if you want more calm, practical homesteading ideas like this, subscribe to Zero to Purpose. This channel is for people who want to grow food and build resilience without hype, burnout, or needing perfect land. I post videos like this every week covering homesteading, self-sufficiency, gardening, and simple systems that work in real life. Subscribing means you won't have to search for reliable advice anymore. It'll just show up. If this video helped you think more clearly about what actually fits your space and life, share it with someone trying to figure out the same thing. Real information spreads when people who get it pass it on. Thanks for spending this time here. I appreciate you being part of this community. Now go start small and start smart. I'll see you in the next one.